After years of decline, a new sultan rose to the Ottoman throne, a man of courage, learning, and determination. His name was Sultan Mustafa II, the 22nd Ottoman Sultan and 87th Caliph of the Muslims. Born in 1664, he was the son of Sultan Mehmed IV and Emetula Rabia Gulnu Haseki, one of the most respected women of the Ottoman court. He was raised in Aden, where he spent most of his life, receiving a strong education and learning the arts of statecraft, poetry, and calligraphy. Unlike many princes before him, Mustafa grew up witnessing wars firsthand, joining his father on expeditions and learning the hardship of battle. When his uncle, Sultan Ahmed II, passed off ascended the throne at the age of 31. He was determined to restore the might of his ancestors and swore never to leave the affairs of state to weak viziers as his predecessors had done. In his coronation edict, he boldly declared his intent to reform the empire, revive justice, and lead his army himself, just as Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent once had. Soon after taking power, Sultan Mustafa II learned of the Ottoman navy's victory at Chios, where Venetian forces were expelled. But the empire was still at war on 6 fronts against Austria, Russia, Venice, Poland, and others. The new sultan believed the only way to restore honor was to lead from the front. He asked his vizier, "Should I stay in Aden or go to war myself?" The vizier warned him that defeat could bring ruin, but the sultan replied, "I do not need money. I will eat stale bread if I must. I sacrifice my body in the way of Allah." And so he became the last Ottoman sultan to personally lead his army into battle. In 1695, the sultan's forces won at Lugos, opening the road to Transylvania. The next year, at Alash, he again led the charge and achieved another victory. But in 1697, during the crossing of the Tisa River near the village of Zenta, tragedy struck. As the army crossed the bridges, the Austrian Commander Prince Eugene of Savoy launched a sudden artillery assault. The bridges collapsed, chaos erupted, and tens of thousands of Ottoman soldiers drowned or fell in battle. The Grand Vizier and many commanders were killed. The Sultan, heartbroken, refused food for 3 days. The defeat at Zenta forced the empire into peace talks, ending a long and costly war. In 1699, the Treaty of Karlowitz was signed, one of the harshest treaties in Ottoman history. Hungary, Transylvania, and Podolia were lost. Azov went to Russia, the Peloponnese to Venice. For the first time, the empire gave up vast lands to Europe, marking the end of Ottoman expansion. Historians called it the day Europe lost its fear of the Turks, but Mustafa did not despair. He focused on rebuilding the empire, restoring agriculture, easing taxes, and encouraging trade. Grand Vizier Amkazade Husain Pasha led major reconstruction projects, building mosques, schools, canals, fountains, and dams. The Sultan himself supported scholars, poets, and calligraphers. However, in his later years, Sultan Mustafa withdrew from politics. Feyzullah Efendi learned. As his influence grew, jealousy and unrest spread. In 1703, discontent exploded into rebellion, the infamous Aden incident. Tens of thousands of soldiers and civilians marched from Istanbul to Aden, demanding change. Feyzullah Efendi was captured and killed by the rebels, and the Sultan, unwilling to shed Muslim blood, chose to abdicate peacefully. He handed the throne to his brother Sultan Ahmed III, saying, "Rule with firmness, and trust no one with the affairs of the state." Sultan Mustafa spent his final months in quiet reflection, before passing away at the age of 39. He was remembered as the last warrior sultan, brave, righteous, and devoted to his people. A poet who wrote under the pen named Meftuni, a calligrapher who signed as Dervish Mustafa, and a ruler who sought to live by the sword and the pen alike. His reign marked the end of an era, the final chapter of the Ottoman sultans who personally led their armies into battle